Skye Squad, we are back in the building, and we got to talk about yesterday's fallout from the dramatic episode of Real Housewives of Potomac from this past Sunday. Y'all, we got a lot to discuss, and we're talking, Twitter, we're talking canceled Twitters, we're talking fan outrage, we are talking old cast members speaking out. We got to talk about it all. But before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, join the texting community because we back, baby. We back, baby. I'm going to be sending out text notifications when we go live and when I have special announcements to make, like the pre-order sales for my upcoming book from my publishing series. I'm super excited about it, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. Also, it is Black Friday, so we are running a special on our CMOS. Get them for 40% off everything in the store. Use the code Black Friday at amirin.com. Link is in the description down below. So lots to cover today. All right, so let's get it started. Let's take things over to our friends at the Neighborhood Talk, okay? Because I'm assuming that they may have reached out to Monique Samuel. I'm not sure exactly how this all came about. But what I do know is she had some comments, and she says that she actually warned Wendy that her family would be next. Okay. And so this is what she had to say. She applauds Wendy for keeping her composure, but she told her at the season 5 reunion that she would be next for ridicule, and lo and behold, she was 100% correct. She says, I don't know the entire story, but I applaud Wendy for not getting physical as I did after I was hit in the face with a glass. She tells the Neighborhood Talk exclusively. She had every reason to defend herself after being splashed in the face and then apparently hit with a purse, and she chose to use her words instead. One thing Wendy said to me back at Karen's home was that she would never get physical. She would use her words. Clearly, she lived up to that statement in this moment. I told her at the season 5 reunion, she and her family would be next. The hate with some of these women is not for the camera. They're real life miserable. One thing Wendy should understand is that it's not about her actions or lack thereof. She could have sat there quietly and they still would have found a reason to ice her out. The same ladies who told me words or even antagonizing someone is not grounds for getting physical are defending a person who got physical over Peter Thomas. LOL. Just wow. So looks like Monique has entered the chat. And it was also interesting to note that Dr. Wendy Osefo also referenced Monique during her exit after she gathered the girls on this past week's episode of Real Housewives of Potomac over their hypocrisy. Okay. Now, speaking of hypocrisy, it was interesting to note that Karen seemed to take some of the brunt of the fallout from the fight. As the ladies in the episode, or I don't know if it was the preview for, I cannot even recall because it was so much that happened. Either it was in the preview for the next episode or it was this week's episode where they were saying that Karen should have been the one to stop the altercation. And so Karen is clapping back with some comments of her own. Okay. In a sneak peek for next week's episode, the Peach Report posted a clip where it says Mia doesn't think Karen defended her, and the ladies discussed the aftermath of Wendy and Mia's altercation. And Karen is actually blamed for not making the altercation, like not stopping it. And so Karen responds and she says, I'm just watching this too. What in the fairy dust is happening here? None of them diffused anything, but I'm supposed to work a freaking miracle. I know they're watching this playback and they don't believe themselves either. Get out of here. Hashtag Real Housewives of Potomac. Do you guys think that it was Karen's job to diffuse the situation? Do you think she didn't do enough? Like, what are your thoughts about that? I can't wait to head over to her YouTube channel to find out what her thoughts are about this episode. Because honestly, right now, the people are blaming, Robyn for being an instigator from last night. She is definitely under fire. Okay. If I take things over to our friends over at Everything Housewives, they picked up people commenting about Robyn left and right, about her being a bully, about how her recording the altercation and then telling the two of them to fight is deplorable. Calling her vile, talking about, again, her being a bully, and also having some type of color issue allegedly. And then one person says, I guess Gizelle and Robyn are okay with this as long as the alleged aggressor is beige or fluorescent beige. And then another person says, Robyn is a terrible human being, bro. Then another person says, tonight's episode was painful to watch to see Wendy be physically and verbally attacked by Mia, then encouraged to physically fight back by Robyn while also being psychologically attacked by Robyn was wild. I'm still trying to process what I just watched. And then someone says, Robyn, if you don't shut up calling Wendy antagonistic and you filming and telling her to fight, but you're not violent, she's a lame. Okay. And so Robyn is coming under severe attack after her antics from the episode. And it's, again, I would say that people's outrage is justified, with particularly with Robyn, because I just felt like her stance in the situation was really kind of deplorable, to be honest with you. And so to place blame on Karen like she should have been the one to stop it, when any of them could have done more to prevent the situation from escalating, is absolutely ludicrous to me. And then Eddie happened to step into the chat as well. Now, if you go to Eddie's Twitter, he says a lot more than this and he retweets a lot more than this. But I'm just basically going to give you the highlight, and it was also captured by our friends over at the reality TV source. And he points out the little definition of antagonizing. And he says, I think that throwing a drink would be classified as antagonizing behavior. Okay. As antagonizing behavior. He goes in on his Twitter. Okay. He goes in. Let me just let you know that. Actually, let's go on over to his Twitter and take a look at what he had to say, because I want you guys to know. And the man is basically defending his wife. And at this point in time, I don't blame him, because I think to have to watch this on television and to see, I think, what his wife went through, without anyone there to really kind of be her backup, or, kind of really get her out of that situation while it was all going down, I think is probably painful for him to watch. And so as we take things over to Twitter, we can actually see on Eddie Osefo's page where, he is literally, he is going in. Okay. One person says, who knew you got to check in with Peter when you touched down in Miami? And he wrote this. Another person says, why does Mia care about Wendy and her business with Peter? Eddie says, I was asking the same thing. Like, wow. And then another person says, Mia, you were selling candles. That's the amnesia shade. And he says, this the one. And here is the antagonized dictionary post. And then he also states, don't throw stones, then hide your hands. Right is right and wrong is wrong. No one can excuse effed up behavior. He retweeted and said, I do not like Robyn or Mia. They're so gross. Wendy ain't do nothing wrong. And he also says, or retweet or responds to a post that says, this episode is so embarrassing and not entertaining. The gaslighting they're doing to Wendy is abuse. And he says 1000%. He also retweeted something that said, the fact that Gizelle and Robyn were so scared with Monique, but egging Mia on to fight Wendy, WTF. And then he says, now the real Karen behavior begins. And then he retweeted someone who said, Wendy didn't say anything negative about Mia's husband. I'm really trying to understand. He also retweeted something that says, Miss Mia Thornton, how are you angry for starting something petty and getting dragged? Whew, the privilege we want. He also retweeted someone that said, Mia, Peter and Wendy's business is not your business. He is not your family. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got it from Queens of Bravo first that Mia Thornton has apparently deleted her Twitter account. I'm assuming that people may have been going in about the incident from the show. And so it looks to me as though the Twitter has been deleted. Okay. It looks like the Twitter has been deleted. Now, this also comes on the heels of, let me share with you guys this. Apparently, we have Mia's friend Jacqueline's family speaking out. And it says, the person says, it's actually ridiculous that Mia is dogging my Aunt Jacqueline like she didn't have to come live with us for years. You had nothing of your own, sis. My mom had been nannying for Mia the last year or so, literally watching Mia's kids, cleaning Mia's home. Meanwhile, Mia was plotting on my Aunt Jacqueline the entire time. Keep it cute, sister girl. We know the real you. So there is that bit of info. And then, of course, Chris Bassett also weighed in and got into the chat. And he told Eddie this. He says, be careful, Eddie. They don't like when we talk and defend our women, but you're not wrong. Lots going on in the aftermath of this past week's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. And we are only on episode 7. So we will have to see how things play out in this whole situation. But we also have Dr. Wendy Osefo, with a message to the supporters of hers who have been supporting her through this. She says, words cannot even begin to describe how grateful I am for the outpouring of love, support, and kind words of affirmation I have received over the past 24 hours. Always keep your head high and your crown straight. Sending you all my deepest gratitude and biggest hug. I told you guys it was a lot to cover. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I am so interested to hear them. You guys had a lot of thoughts and opinions about the episode yesterday, so I can't wait to hear what your thoughts and feelings are about the fallout. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Text me at 202-918-3386. And be sure to visit amirin.com and get 40% off of everything in the store. Sea moss capsules included. And I will catch you guys in the next video.